primarily I want to talk about bullish cases for Bitcoin. And what's happening right now, even with Peter Schiff, shows why Bitcoin is important and why it's necessary in this space. Also, briefly, I'm going to talk about how to safeguard your crypto. And there are many other things I want to discuss tonight. So let's get started. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out cryptosrust.com. And make sure you follow Brand New Clips channel. Especially for those of you guys that complain, oh, your streams are too long and this and that. Well, follow the Clips channel. That's why I created it. It's like 3 minutes every clip. All right. So there you go. Anyways, welcome, guys. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Bitcoin was above 20,000 right before I started streaming. It's down a little bit. But overall today, we had a pretty solid day, I would say. The Bitcoin was a little bit lower this morning. But what I'm referring to is the entire space coming up, not only crypto, but stock market came up quite suddenly. I mean, NASDAQ had a good day today, started off deep in the red. Dow was negative 700 at one point. So it recovered a little bit. So that's pretty good. So traders, again, starting to come to terms with what's happening, right, with inflation and so forth. But tomorrow will be a big day because the FOMC meeting minutes will be released, and people will look at what was discussed last month. I still don't get this whole thing, and I'm going to keep complaining until the Fed changes this. But why do the minutes get released a month later? Why not just release it like an hour later or 2 hours later or 10 minutes afterwards, right? Every time there's a meeting, Powell comes out and has a long press conference. Why not release the minutes right then? Why do we have to wait 1 month to get what was discussed? Obviously, they already know what was discussed, and then we wouldn't have this drama every month. Seems like every month now we have FOMC meeting drama and then FOMC meetings drama, which comes a month afterwards. But we should already know what was discussed because we had a big press conference ready from Powell, and he basically said everything. So I still don't get this whole thing. I really don't get it. But anyways, tomorrow we will see if there's any surprises that come out of the minutes. Sometimes we do. And then, the Wall Street guys panic and that this like sell everything off. But if there's nothing new, then great. AA says because they are shady. Maybe they make last minute changes to it before they release. It still boggles my mind why it's released a full month later. But anyways, so there's that. Just to show Fed's overall track record. Some of these lines are projections in terms of quantitative tightening, and then there's periods of quantitative easing. Basically, there's been points where, the Fed is really, really serious about reducing their balance sheet, yet every single time the balance sheet somehow goes higher. Other than 2018, 2019, it started coming down a little bit, and then boom, we're at a level we have never seen before. So the track record for the Fed in terms of reducing the balance sheet has not been a good one. And if the economy gets really bad, this quantitative tightening will turn into quantitative easing again, and then we'll see more money being distributed. So hopefully that's not the case, because right now inflation is the biggest worry, right? So just want to talk about that. And also I noticed this, when people want cars, they really want cars. So luxury car buyers shall more than ever for car payments that look like mortgages. And I looked at this. For the first time, over 12% of consumers who financed a new car in June committed to a monthly of $1,000 or more, the highest level on record, compared to 7.3%. So think about that. 12% of people that bought a new car in June is paying $1,000 or more for monthly payments. That is a lot. People really want their luxury cars, right? But anyways, all right. enough with overall markets. Let's talk about bullish cases for Bitcoin and crypto, and some updates from the lending companies, which I want to share. So I think a lot of you guys caught this morning. A lot of people were actually surprised about what happened with Peter Schiff's bank, right? So there's more information that has come out. Basically, an international group of tax authorities, like from 26 countries, all right, started investigating the Euro Pacific Bank from Peter Schiff for more than 2 years. And they finally got Puerto Rico to basically um, stop the bank, basically kill off the bank and not allow Peter Schiff to sell it. And they're keeping all the funds right now, right? And the reason why they're doing this is because they believe that this bank is a vehicle for suspected tax evasion and money laundering, right? So that is the reason why it was closed down. But Peter Schiff has been a nonstop rant about this. I mean, rightfully so, if what he's saying is true. But basically, they closed it, even though they weren't insolvent. Although he mentioned about they had a little bit of money issues. But then here's something else that he's saying that the bank was imposed a 700K fine without because they were operating without a license, and that's because they didn't renew their license even though they paid, right? And also he's saying Puerto Rico government won't allow customers to have their funds. Supposedly it's for their own good, their money is there, so he wanted to say that there's no bank run happening, right? They're not insolvent, although Peter Schiff was trying to sell it. And there's a lot of finger pointing left and right, right? Well, I don't know the complete story, but this is a bullish case for Bitcoin. Okay, this is one of the major fundamental reasons why so many believe in Bitcoin, because distrust in governments, distrust in not only banks but governments themselves, and how they can seize your assets anytime, even if you are a bank. Okay, they could seize your assets and take everything away, and that is what seems like it's happening right now with Peter Schiff and his bank. Although little details have come out on whether or not this is actually true, whether or not this bank was used for tax evasion, money laundering, but it could turn out that is false. I don't know, but again, this is a bullish case for Bitcoin because no one could take that away from you. This is what so many Bitcoiners have been saying. Max Kaiser been saying it. Michael Saylor has been saying it. So many people that's been in a space that truly understand that's not just focused on price action day to day. They understand that Bitcoin is really freedom, and you have your own wallet. You could put it in your pocket. You could put it in your phone. No one knows who you are if you choose to stay that way. No one could stop you from sending your crypto. No one could take it away from you, right? As long as you don't give up your private key. But this is a perfect example, right? And I'm hoping, and I'm not trying to bash Peter. I know a lot of people respect him, and he's been right on so many things. But I'm hoping that he comes to and turns the corner and becomes a Bitcoin bull because of this, right? Hopefully, hopefully, one could wish, but he's like the only Bitcoin bear left out there. But we'll see. But I do think this is a good example of why Bitcoin is important. Not many people focus on this. Anyways, all right, now moving on. Some brighter news, I guess, from the lending companies. Celsius appears to be paying off a lot of their loans. So they paid off another $41 million toward their loan, and their liquidation price with make or die is now $2,722. So it's unlikely, if not impossible, for Celsius to be liquidated, at least this loan for now, right? So is this encouraging? Yes. Where are they getting the money from? Not certain. Can they pull through? Hopefully. Like I said, I never wished for Bitcoin Celsius to go down. It would be not good at all. I'm hoping they figure out a way, right? So it's encouraging that they are paying off a lot of their loans, or this one loan they're putting more down towards it. But um, I don't know where the money's coming from. I don't. Maybe they're selling their Celsius tokens. I don't know, but um, it's encouraging. It's encouraging, that's for sure. And then for Voyager, Voyager is saying, well, you know what? Even though we're in this bad time, we still have 1.3 billion of crypto assets on our platform, and we still have 650 million claim against Three Arrows Capital, right? And we have 350 million cash at Metropolitan Commercial Bank. Okay, so if you the Three Arrows Capital unlikely to be recovered, but if you put the cash with their 1.3 billion in crypto, that's like 1.7 billion, right? Now I don't know if they owe a lot more than that, but they're saying they have 1.7 billion worth of crypto, so maybe they can come out of this. I mean, FTX maybe buying them, and maybe they'll make people whole, right? But they are still they're surviving, and they're saying, we're not dead yet, and we have plenty of funds. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of people are disappointed by is because not only the withdrawals being suspended, but Voyager themselves did say, I think Steve Ehrlich himself said it, that the USD is FDIC insured. Okay, there's 350 million cash. But the FDIC insurance is for if Metropolitan Commercial Bank goes under, not that Voyager goes under, that your funds will be FDIC insured. There's a big difference there. So they kind of, mistrued what that insurance is for, right? So just want to throw that out there. And Fat Man Terra, who's kind of trying to uncover some of these things with Terra and with Voyager, kind of said that out loud. So just want to let you guys know. But Voyager is saying they're staying strong. And lastly, as for Vald, I did get a message from someone on the inside. So I was talking about Vald and what's been happening, and I reached out to him like, what's going on? People want to know about also you guys. Are you guys any more news? Did you guys, have exposure to Three Arrows Capital and all that stuff? So I got, obviously I blurred out who it's from, but to sum up, that last paragraph or last sentence is what's important. We don't have direct exposure to Three Arrows Capital, Celsius, Babel Finance, or Luna. Okay, so it seems like they were not affected by it, but what they're affected by is basically the bank run that's happening, the massive withdrawals, which they've said 198 million, right? So it's an unfortunate situation. They did say in this email that they're exploring all options, including an acquisition by Nexo, which Nexo announced this morning. They will give 60 days. They're interested in buying Bold, right? So they're exploring options again, just like everyone else. They're suffering through bad times, but it seems like if this is true, they didn't take huge risks with Three Arrows Capital or anyone else. It's just that they're suffering from a bank run, right? So I will keep you guys updated as I hear more, but that's the latest with Vold as well. Now, speaking of bank runs, because of what's happening right now, and a lot of you guys are asking about exchanges, that's exactly what's happening right now. There's a lot of exchanges and a lot of outflows right now. All right. So some of it is, of course, due to holders that are DCAing. But I think a lot of it recently has to do with the fact that people are scared. People want to, they want to secure their own crypto, and it makes sense, right? Right now is not the time to be keeping massive amount of crypto on any centralized exchange or lending platform or any platform at all where they control your keys and not you, right? So it kind of makes sense right now more than ever. You're seeing this large, massive outflow. But, that outflow has been happening for quite some time. So I think it's bullish two way is, yes, it still shows that many Bitcoin are leaving exchanges. Okay. And that is fantastic. It's going into people's wallets. They're being removed from circulation. People are no longer trading them or panic selling them, right? And that is absolutely fantastic. And we have seen many periods where we see large amounts of outflow, right? And we're seeing one of those periods now, and it's one of the most massive periods we have seen, right? And I do think it's a combination of both of what I just mentioned, right? So it's bullish from a couple of perspectives. It's bullish for Bitcoin because of the outflow and the circulation removal, and it's bullish, I think, because right now a lot of people are starting to learn about how to safeguard their own crypto. What's happening with Peter Schiff with confiscation and seizure, right? And with right now with withdrawals being limited or suspended. I think a lot of people that have come into the space thinking that everything that they use is 100% reliable. Right now, they're starting to learn, well, it's not the case, and you got to safeguard your crypto, right? And there's many ways to do this. There's many ways to do this. Go real quick. I've been mentioning two that I've been using a long time. Number one is if you don't want to buy anything, you want to use your mobile wallet, right? Go ahead, download it. Any phone, Apple, Android, doesn't matter. You can download Trust Wallet. It's absolutely free. It stores the private key, the recovery phrase on your phone. It makes you write it down so you could recover on any phone if you wanted to. If your phone gets lost, stolen, whatever, it doesn't matter because you can always recover it, right? But you do have to safeguard that private key or the recovery phrase, because that is the most important thing. And they support thousands of crypto. Not every single crypto, but they support thousands of them. And you could utilize DEXs and dApps straight from the wallet. It's very easy. So at the very least, download it and play around with it. Or you could use Coinbase Wallet. They have their own. There's a few out there that's non-custodial. Just download it and at least play around with it just to get familiar if you're not familiar, right? So mobile wallets, absolutely free. There's a lot out there, but make sure you stay with the trustworthy ones like Trust Wallet. And then as for a hardware wallet, something that I've been using for a long time is Ledger. It's a USB stick, tri-factor authentication, because not only do you have to plug it in, it's a cold wallet, first of all. Second of all, there's a PIN code to it, right? And there's a password to it. So it's tri-authentication. It's fairly easy to learn, right? And they have this app called Ledger Live, which allows you to not only track your portfolio, but you could also buy and swap on there. And they have support for thousands of crypto, just like Trust Wallet I showed you, right? Pretty much all the major ones that you could think of course, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Binance Coin, and Polkadot, and Solana, and it just goes on and on and on, right? So if you want a hardware wallet, you want something that is the most secure thing that you can buy for your crypto, for safeguarding crypto, then get something like a Ledger, right? They're not the only players in town. There's a Treasure as well. There's a couple different models, but they work the same way. They're cold wallet because they're not plugged into your computer. They don't have internet access. So someone physically has to steal this from you and know the PIN code and know the password to be able to do anything. So it's virtually impossible unless someone has a gun to your head or something like that. All right. So just to throw that out there, and there's many different versions. Like I've been using a Nano S. It only allows you to store 3 wallets, which is kind of lacking. But I picked up this new Nano S Plus that I have not installed yet, but I will set this up soon. And this supports over 100 wallets. So if you want an ultimate security, check it out. It's not that expensive either. But anyways, so that's my point is right now, more than ever, be careful with your crypto, okay? You just don't know what may happen with any of these platforms. Right now, it's just a scary time, all right? So there you go. All right. Now, outside of safeguarding your crypto, are there other bullishness? Well, yeah. I mean, just common stuff. Okay. Right now, fear and greed index is still very high, right? 18. Oh, someone asked John. I'm going to answer that question a little bit about iTrust Capital because I did reach out to them as well. Fear index is still very high, right? I mean, very fearful. Even though it's climbed higher than the 8 and 9 that we have seen, but it's still very fearful. And I've been talking about how, you know what? When there's clumps of fear, that's usually when it's a good time to buy, good time to DCA. And I'm glad I'm not the only one that shares that. So here's one. Someone posted this on Twitter. You know what? You DCA in extreme fear. It may not work out every time, especially short term, but long term, that's when you want to do it. And then you take profits in extreme greed, right? That's how you do it. You could see back in 2018, 19, 20, there's been many extreme fearful times. And you could argue, well, some of those times had you bought, you would have bought too high and you could have waited for bottom and this and that. But the thing is, no one knows truly where bottom is. But one thing's for certain, when you buy at extreme fear levels, if you wait, things come back. And when things get extreme greedy, it always happens. That's when you take profits, right? So it didn't matter where you bought in 2018, 19, 20. Had you taken profit in 2021, any time when there was extreme greed, you would be up, right? And it's the same thing now. But if you're a long-term holder, you don't have to time it. You don't have to time anything. You just continue to HODL and DCA and then wait for the gains to come to you. It's really that simple when it comes to crypto. There's too many people that try to complicate it, try to tell you this and this and this and this might happen before this happens. You know what? If you're a long-term investor, all you do is DCA along the way, right? So there you go. And then also, there's many other things that's bullish. I've shown this before. If you're worried about inflation, and a lot of people will say, well, what are you talking about? Bitcoin's not a good hedge against inflation. Look at last year, right? But there's always periods like that. But if you look at starting in 2011, you could have bought 100 million sats with one USD. Today, you could buy 4,900, right? So there's, of course, just like any chart, there's up and downs, but long term, inflation is losing against Bitcoin. Bitcoin is growing in value faster than the dollar can devalue. So think about that, right? So over a long haul, this is why Bitcoin wins, because the holders continue to stack sats, continue to HODL, and while the US is debasing the USD, Bitcoin and sats get only stronger, right? So just want to remind you guys that. And that's pretty much it. There's a few things, which that has a lot of staked Ethereum, and they distribute ST ETH, right? It's been off peg for a while, but now it's starting to stabilize. And this could be the reason why Celsius is doing better these days, because there's rumors that Celsius has a ton of ETH locked in, and you can't withdraw it because ETH 2.0 does not allow you to until the beacon chain is out. And their ST ETH is depegged, and you don't want to sell that for ETH when it's depegged. It's still a little bit, about 3%, but it's better than the 6% that was before, or 6 or 7%, right? So this is positive overall to get a synthetic Ethereum token that should be one-to-one back to normal, right? So that is encouraging. Ripple, for those of you guys who are Ripple fans, it's a slow altcoin day. That's why I'm covering this. But Ripple hires new lawyers as SEC lawsuit drags on. There are a lot of, I know, XRP fans looking forward to this. And Polygon is getting into the phone game, though they're making a smart decision. They're not trying to come out with physical phones. They are actually partnering up with a company called Nothing, and they're going to be pushing, basically creating like a whole marketplace for dApps, games, payments, and stuff like that. So they're staying out of hardware game. Unlike Solana, which is getting into the space and trying to come out the phone, which most likely is going to fail. You don't want to be in the hardware business. It's too hard. Just look at every other company that has tried to compete with Samsung and Apple, have pretty much all died. So there's that. And Polygon has been doing relatively well recently. And then lastly, just to give some hope to SHIB fans, the burn rate for SHIB is going up through the roof. And you still have a ton of whales that is somehow buying a ton of SHIB. It's still happening, and most of it is Coinbase. But within here, it talks about how there's one crypto whale that has bought 210 million worth of SHIB in one record-breaking transaction in the past 24 hours. So for SHIB fans, I guess that's very encouraging. Although it didn't push SHIB price up, you still have mega whales, who actually is an XRP-focused whale that's buying hundreds of millions of SHIB right now, which is quite interesting. Anyways, just thought I'd share that for sheep fans. All right, that's pretty much it. By the way, someone did ask me about I Trust Capital. I reached out to my rep. He is still there. You know, it seems like they made the right decision because he was telling me, first of all, no exposure to DeFi or lending or anything like that. That's not what I Trust Capital is about. But he did mention how competitors, other IRA companies that compete with I Trust Capital, did participate in those kind of things. And now they're kind of, you know, not in a good place. But I Trust Capital, at least what he tells me, is fine. I'm sure they're having some hardship right now because of overall market downturn, but they're about to release some new features, including staking, which is the very first for a crypto IRA company. So just want to share that because someone asked about it. So, all right, guys, let's do some Q&A. DK, you're actually absolutely right, but it's just hard for new people to kind of understand that. So I just say it like that because it makes more sense. But you're absolutely right. I mean, everything is stored in the blockchain. You know, the private key just allows access to that, but you know, everything else is just kind of like in between and security, right? That's really what it is. Have I ever dunked on someone? No. I was never able to even grab rim. The highest I've ever jumped is like the bottom part of rim. Never been able to truly grab a 10-foot rim. You know, I just back in my day, there wasn't a lot of like leg training and stuff. But now it's like you watch all these guys all have like 48 crazy. You know, training, supplements, you know, like all this stuff has gotten a lot better in the last 20 years. That's for sure. Um, all right. Let's see here. I miss anything? I staked 10 ETH on Coinbase. Okay. What do you think about Litecoin? I think you should just go with Bitcoin. Actually, I take that back. I'm not going to give you any financial advice. You had to make that decision on your own. But for me, I hold zero Litecoin, and I much rather buy in DCA Bitcoin than Litecoin. For me, there's no reason to touch Litecoin. Is Gemini Exchange still safe? I guess I haven't heard anything about Gemini, so I can't really say one way or another about Gemini. They have a bit license, so that's very hard to get in New York. So I'm assuming they are regulated properly. They have been on the forefront of a lot of things, but I can't say for certain at this point. Michael asks, has there ever been a time in U.S. history when the Fed used quantitative tightening during a period of rampant inflation? That's a good question. I don't know. If you go back, maybe, you know, maybe during some of the previous recessions from decades ago or like, you know, a century ago. I don't know, Michael. It's a good one. It's a good, interesting question because normally speaking, you have quantitative easing, not tightening during inflation, right? So, or during recession, I'm sorry. So, yeah, it's like kind of like the opposite, you know. Normally, if the economy is doing good, you want to tighten, right? And inflation goes up, that's okay. But when it's bad, you normally want to ease. But we're like kind of mixed altogether. It's kind of hard to say. Let's see here. Brad Lemon, member for 10 months. Absolutely stoked to catch a live stream. Welcome, welcome. Is the Nano X pretty good? I haven't used X. The biggest advantage with X is it has Bluetooth, which turns some people off because technically if you have Bluetooth function on, then it's not a pure cold wallet. It's kind of like cold/hot wallet. So that's why I think Nano introduced this Nano S Plus, because this has all the features of an X, except it doesn't have Bluetooth, right? So some people prefer not to have Bluetooth, although some people prefer it because it's easier and then you could use it with your mobile phone, right? So it really depends on what you're looking for, whether you want the ultimate disconnect or you want just a little bit connect. It's up to you, you know. Let's see. Going to DC until I retired, and I'm gonna go ACDC. Um, Celsius and Voyager holders are long time investors. I don't know about that. A lot of long time investors don't participate in DeFi or lending. I mean, not lending, but just passive income. I'm sure some have, but not everyone. But yeah, there's long term investors, that's for sure. Wish I could pull my ETH off of Coinbase right now. Unfortunately, if you've staked ETH into ETH 2.0, you can't do anything about it until it unlocks, which should be in August or September. So it shouldn't be that long. I already answered about. Okay, now I'm starting to catch up. I was way behind on comments. I'm sorry. All right. What do you think about Moonbeam? I still think it's probably one of the more interesting projects on Polkadot right now. Um, let's see. People commenting about my uh dunking ability or lack of dunking ability. And by the way, I'm only 5'10". I'm not like 6'10", all right? If I was 6'10", I couldn't dunk, then that would be embarrassing, but I'm not. Self custody blocked on Coinbase. What it means blocked on Coinbase. You could transfer to Coinbase Wallet. All right. When I say Coinbase Wallet, it's a separate app. It's not Coinbase itself with their wallets. There's actually an app called Coinbase Wallet, which allows you to transfer to. That is self custody. It's non custodian. Did you notice all the VeChain logos? I watched UFC 276, but I didn't. So, yeah. George owns 51% XRP. I wish I did, but I do have, you got to give me credit for educational XRP/Ripple video ever created. So there's that. Are you invested in FTX? Do you mean the FTT token? Before I did. Right now, no. I started consolidating. Before I had a ton, like 40 or 50 different crypto. Started consolidating. Now I'm more like 20-ish, right? But I do think FTX or FTT is interesting because of how much money they have and all the money they're throwing around, right? With Voyager and BlockFi and so forth. So quite interesting. And not only them, Robinhood too. So they are trying to set themselves for world domination, right? But I don't know. I don't quite trust the situation, I guess. Let's just put it that way, right? I just don't know if I can trust how they're getting so much money and how they're able to just throw it around while everyone else is struggling hard right now, stuff like that. We'll see. We'll see. I had an interesting thought today about crypto.com, how crypto.com spent so much money on, the naming rights to what previously was known as the Staples Center. Like, what if something happened to crypto.com, right? I'm not saying that it will, not trying to spread panic, but I'm just hypothetically speaking, like something happened to them and they can no longer pay for the naming rights. what would they do, right? Would they bring Staples back? It's just quite interesting. Coinbase wallet over Exodus wallet? Yes, Mike. I would actually choose that. How long do bear markets run for? Usually, bear market for crypto is known as crypto winter, and that's after a parabolic rise. We didn't have that parabolic rise this time, so it's unknown. But usually, it's about 3 years. 3 years, leading up to the next halving event, right? So if you're asking about when is the next halving event, it's May of 2024. So we got, about a 1.5 year time frame. Mara asked, Trust Wallet offers staking APY. Is that safe? Mostly, I think so, because they're basically passing on the staking rewards to you. Like if you see in there, I think they had I forgot what they had, like Matic staking or BNB staking. They're basically staking it into a pool which you get to select and passing on the rewards to you, right? It's a little bit less if you just did it yourself, but the convenience of it makes it easy. But just know that sometimes those unbonding takes time. People have sent me emails saying, "Oh, I unstake, but I don't see it." Because sometimes when you unstake from a project, they make you wait like 30 days or 60 days or something before you get it. So just know that if you stake and you unstake, some projects not instantaneous where you get your crypto back. Julian, thank you. I trust XRP as much as I trust Bill Gates. I will say my trust level in Bill Gates went down really, really, really quickly. Really, really quickly. And all within the matter of like a year. So growing up, I really loved Bill Gates and Microsoft. I thought Microsoft was going to be dominating the world, and I'm glad to see they are still one of the big tech companies. But Bill Gates has done so many questionable things in the last year. I can no longer trust that guy. Elmark, I appreciate that, man. Is Coinbase Wallet as good as Exodus with Treasure? No, because Treasure is a hardware wallet. So if you're making a trade on Exodus with Treasure, you're basically using our hardware wallet to do so. And that is stronger than a Coinbase wallet, although the convenience of it is not as good. And trading with Exodus is not nearly as robust, I would say, as the dApps on Coinbase wallet. I mean, arguably, maybe it is. But I remember back in the day when I used to trade on Exodus, the not the fees, but like the order price was just very off from most exchanges. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Will any metaverse project survive the winter? I think all the major ones will. Sandbox definitely will. They're still continuing forward. Big relationship with many projects or many creators, I should say. I think Gala's go survive. I think ApeCoin with Bored Ape Yacht Club, they will definitely survive. I mean, they're bounds. I think there's many projects that will survive. I think Decentraland will too, although recently I haven't heard much about them. Mario, thank you. How long do you think the car bubble lasts? I really hope the car bubble just pops, but it's not popping because it's not popping because like so many people want so many cars. It's because supply chain issues. You can't get them. The chip shortage is still short, and there's still many cars like locked up on boats, in Europe or wherever it's coming from, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That's why people are overpaying for their cars right now. There's so many. I covered this article at the beginning about luxury car buyers, but not even luxury car buyers. You go try to buy a brand new RAV4, you're paying 10K over MSRP on a RAV4. Of all cars, you try to buy, I don't know, Forerunner or whatever, you're paying a lot more than you should. And it's because there's just such a shortage, right? So hopefully it ends soon. I don't know, that will. What's all the fun about KuCoin going under? I mean, it's just spread by someone on Twitter. Whether or not it's true or not, no one really knows. But like I've been saying, safeguard your crypto. You just don't know at this point, right? If you don't really want to learn, well, then you're increasing your risk that something may happen and you're not prepared for it. So right now, it's definitely time to learn. If you don't want to transfer all of it off the exchanges, that's on you, but maybe some of it, so you're not 100% in one or a few, right? Right now, it's just you just don't know. But KuCoin is definitely an exchange I like. Been using them for a long time. There are several exchanges that I think there's very, very minimal risk, that there's just really no chance I could see them going down, like Binance, FTX, Coinbase. I think those three have literally zero chance to go down, although I shouldn't say zero, maybe 0.1% or something like that. But all the others, just be careful. Even like KuCoin, even though they've been around for a long time, who really knows what's going on behind the scenes? So just be careful. Sam, am I still getting my Ferrari? Yes, but it's being held up in Italy right now. So I was supposed to get it already. My salesperson said it's held up. Last time they got done painting it, and then they said to ship it here usually takes 30 days, but because of the backup, it's whenever. It could be 2 months, it could be 6 months. I don't know. So I'm actually kind of glad that it's being delayed. I can't even enjoy it right now. So whatever. Do you think Vol will recover customer funds? I hope so. I did cover the email from one of the inside guys. They said they had no direct exposure to what happened with Rio Capital, Celsius, Babel, and Luna. So the biggest two that's been affecting everyone is Luna and Capital. So hopefully they can pull through. Who knows if they sell to Nexo or they don't? Maybe someone else buys them. Maybe Coinbase helps them because Coinbase is a big investor. So hopefully they can figure it out. Why is a Gala Master on 95,000? I actually don't know. Isaiah, I haven't heard much from you about Cadena because there's not a lot to talk about, man. There's not a lot to talk about with Cadena right now. Do I use a cold wallet? Yes, combination, cold wallets, hot wallets. Some on exchanges because it's just easier that way. But been doing a lot more safeguarding these days, that's for sure. I'm seeing 10K cars go for 25K on lots. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it that bad, but yeah, I have seen people tell me or heard people tell me like I bought a car for 20K like 5 years ago and now I could sell it for 20K. Like I lost no money, right? And maybe the dealerships mark it up afterwards, but right now it's definitely a seller's market. You could sell your car for basically at a no loss, but on the flip side, if you're trying to buy a car, it's not good. Not good at all. Unless you order Tesla and then you're paying MSRP. So there's that. All right, guys, I'll let you go. Overall, a lot of bullish cases, even with what's happening with Peter Schiff, right? His bank being taken away from him. He's getting imposed fines. Customers' funds are being withheld, kind of like what's happening with a lot of these other companies, right? These centralized lending companies. So I think these are all cases, pro cases, bullish cases for Bitcoin. It solves all these things. So you don't have to worry about it as long as you safeguard your own Bitcoin and crypto, right? And of course, there's many metrics and models out there that's still showing Bitcoin is strong. The holders are strong. Number of Bitcoin leaving exchanges is strong and pretty much at all-time high, right? And whenever fear is out there, whenever there's a lot of fear, usually that's when you want to DCA and buy the dip, right? So stay strong, my friends. Stay focused, have patience, and make sure you tune in tomorrow, 8:15 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.